Hi, John Czapko, Thrive Insurance Group. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Today, I wanted to take a minute and talk about where or how do I procure commercial insurance for my business? Fundamental question that a lot of business owners struggle with, and I wanted to answer that question today. So where or how do I buy commercial insurance for my business? It's a really good question. There's a couple options you can do. You can go online, you can call 1-800, insert company name here, and you can procure insurance that way. That's a good start. If you don't have insurance, get it and start somewhere. You need to start somewhere. But I really encourage you to work with your local agent, your local broker. And there's a couple reasons for that. Number one, you're going to get personalized advice. You're going to get tailored information for your business. Now, research that agency, research their reviews, research the information that you get some recommendation from like companies in your industry. If you're an HVAC company, ask your buddies, when you're getting coffee at the HVAC supply store in the morning, who are you using for insurance, and maybe do some networking that way, some horizontal networking that might help. The other piece that I want you to look at is the access to carriers. Now, this one kind of goes both ways. I'm going to give you some pros and maybe some negatives to working with a broker, and I'm going to be as transparent as I can here. I think it's important that you know both sides of the story. So looking at access to carriers is really important. We have a core group of maybe 6 or 8 that we really, really work with. We know their appetites intimately. We know what they're looking for. We know that if they have a broad appetite or they have very finite appetites for artisan contractors, or they're more broad-based where they'll look at things a little differently. So we really try to work within our carriers' appetites and align our carriers and our customers very, very specifically. I've heard on the other side of the fence, and this is really more true on the personal lines, where I've heard carrier agencies say, hey, I've got access to 50 carriers or 75 carriers. And I think they use that as a marketing tool. And I think that's kind of a negative because you don't know 50 carriers' appetites. It's impossible. You're not doing a service to your customers in that instance. So, kind of cut through some of the FUD, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt there, and look at that a little bit more granularly. Really try to hone in on the carrier access and the appetites, and make sure that the agency is aligned properly with those carriers. And then the last piece is a simplified process. Buying commercial insurance is very complex, and it's really tough to do it off of a website. There's a lot of pieces that go into the puzzle. There's a lot of nuances that you're going to learn by working with a broker or an agent to understand what goes into it from your business perspective. So I encourage you to work with a local broker. Those are the couple reasons as to why you should. Now, there's a couple things on the other side that, just full transparency. So one of the questions I get a lot asked is, how do I get paid? I get paid from the carriers. The carriers pay me a percentage when I do a transaction with them. Now, there's also, for some of our more complex deals, we do also do, and this is dependent on your state. So make sure you're working within Department of Insurance regulations and the agencies are doing it the right way. There are some times that there's some broker fees or agency fees that are charged for companies that are heavy on COIs or heavy on different agency tasks. So we will charge those fees from time to time on some of our more complex and bigger transactions that require a lot of heavy lifting on the agency on the back end. So those are some things that may be seen there. If you don't have access to certain carriers, maybe I have access to these 5 carriers, but I don't have access to these. Well, as an agency, I can't sell those because I don't have access to those carriers. So there may be a bias towards the ones that I have and a bias away from the ones that I don't have. You have to work within those constraints. And then some customers really want that relationship with the insurer, the insurance company. They want that relationship with that company. So they want to cut out the middleman. They want that kind of frictionless transaction with the insurer. So they want to cut out that person in the middle, and that's entirely up to them. So, those would be some of the positives and negatives of working with an agent or a broker. My recommendation is this is very complex stuff, and it's really tough to go at it alone. I constantly find myself reaching out to my mentors for advice and my people that have been doing this for a long time for guidance and input, and how should I, and what should we do in this situation? And I think that's a normal thing. And I have agents reaching out to me constantly asking me. So I think it's a very iterative process, and I think it's one that you really need to work with a broker or an agent to go through and make sure you're protecting your business the proper way. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to us via YouTube, via email, via Facebook. We'd love to be of service. And if you have any other questions, make sure you're working with your local agent or broker. Please feel free to reach out to us. And remember, thrive today, protect tomorrow. Thanks. Have a great day.